So, who would like to start?
I will, Mayor.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, if I might.
Yeah.
On September 11th this year, 600 motorcycles rode through the city in a 9/11 memorial tribute. As the council is aware, several hundred of those bikes ran the red light at the intersection of Moulton and El Toro. As you know, we have serious concerns about public safety, and we were concerned that these bikes running that light would threaten our red light camera program. I'm a fierce defender of public safety in the city, and I always have been. But unfortunately, sometimes when we have issues like this, and when people have strong beliefs, lines in the sand get drawn, and inappropriate things were said, and I think they may have been said on both sides. So I'd like to take this opportunity to apologize for my part in that. I am sure that the organizer of this rider did not intend for this to happen, and I'm sure that he does not support what happened. And I am hopeful that we can move forward, and that if this ride comes through our city again, that we can cooperate in making it a successful and safe ride.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor, Council, Mrs. Keene. My name is Gary Biggerstaff. I live in Long Beach, California, 257 Bennett Avenue. And I'm the only guy. The ride is not an official ride in any capacity. I don't charge any money for it. I don't have any registration for it. It's just an idea that was born at the lunch table in the fire station, and we decided to do it. And the original ride consisted of about 50 firemen, and it just was born out of an idea 24 hours sooner. It has since grown over the last 6 years to, I estimate 600 bikes. Several people estimate closer to 1,000 this year. I really don't know how many. I can tell you that it was a lot. It was an impressive display. As the lead rider, I make it my pledge, along with Rich Brandt, who is the union president for my Firefighters Association. We ride this thing together, and we lead it every year, and we always ask Orange County Fire and all of the fire agencies along the way to lead us if they would, and they always do that. We always ask them in writing and in person to stop for all lights and obey traffic laws. Sometimes those agencies get overwhelmed by the sight, and they will hold traffic lights. Either a fire engine will pull out and hold that light, or sometimes a police car will pull out and hold the light, or sometimes the police will jump in and lead the ride, and they will take us through all the lights in their city. We get a wide variety of escort responses along the way, and we never really quite know what to expect until we get to each individual intersection. And that in itself can be a little bit confusing for the riders that are in the back, because I hand them all a piece of paper that I have given to Ms. Keene, a flyer that asks them to obey the rules of the road, always. Now, because of this does create some confusion, and I have little control over what an officer or a fire engine will do at any particular point, the following year when you come back, you might get the sense that you get to run through some red light somewhere, when reality is you don't have that right ever, but if someone's holding it, that you do. Well, on this particular occasion, an unknown person did pull the light at Moulton and El Toro, and that gave everyone that approached that light the sense that it was safe to go through. And perhaps it was safe. No one got hurt, thankfully. But it really wasn't my intention. I didn't endorse it. I didn't ask for it. And this is the point that I tried to make to Mrs. Keene, and that's why we've ended up in this room today, is mainly she just didn't want to listen to that argument. And there's been some dispute over some things that were said, whether I said them or changed them. I got some very unprofessional emails from Mrs. Keene, and I want to read a couple of them to you. There's a lot of them, and a lot of them were very appropriate. In the last 24 hours, I think she has sort of changed her tune. I think that the people that stand in this room have opened her eyes, and I think there's a lot of people that aren't in this room, probably numbering in the hundreds. I'll leave that to her to describe. I know that my email box has been full of hundreds of emails from people, not just that were on the ride, but from around the country that have been sort of offended, we'll say. So, I'm just going to read you the first couple of emails that transpired between me and Mrs. Keene regarding this ride. I didn't find out that there was even a problem or an issue here in Laguna Woods as far as the light being held, or a traffic issue, or a safety issue. I didn't realize it happened. I was in the front. This was some 300, 400, 500 riders behind me that this issue happened, and it was unbeknownst to me until I was contacted by the Orange County Sheriff on October 7th and brought into an investigation to try and find out who that person was. I promptly went in and spoke with the investigator. I looked at the videotape, I looked at the pictures, and I don't know if you've had the opportunity to see them, but I seriously doubt that anyone would be able to identify that person. The images are not clear, they're blurry at best. It would be even difficult to tell the race of the rider or the color of his bike, let alone exactly who it was. Therefore, it would be impossible for me to do it. Once I realized there was an investigation underway, the next day I went to work, and my own fire chief had called me in, and I got trapped into a 1-hour meeting with him defending my actions, my intentions, and just exactly what it is I did on September 11th to incense Ms. Keene so much, because she had contacted my city manager and complained. So the heat was sort of coming down on me, and I found myself defending myself for what is really a very pure and patriotic event. So I contacted her and said, "Hello, Ms. Keene, my name is Gary Biggerstaff. I'm contacting you in hopes of arranging a meeting so we can chat and clear the air on what went on in Laguna Woods on 9/11. I apologize for the inconvenience this has caused you and your staff. I think perhaps there are some misconceptions that need to be addressed. I would be happy to come and meet with you in an effort to educate you on my actions and intentions, and also welcome the opportunity to become informed on what effect my patriotic event has had on your community." Her response to that, and I know there's been some disputes over what was ended up on the internet on some of these blog sites, so this is word for word. "I am not opposed to sitting down," this is from Ms. Keene, "I am not opposed to sitting down and discussing the situation with you, but please be advised that my city stands actively ready to prosecute the individual who impersonated a police officer in our city on September 11th. We will also seek to issue red light violations to those motorcycles that were captured at our red light camera running the red light. And your group will not be allowed to ride through our city under any circumstance next year. This was not an inconvenience. It was your organization blatantly breaking the law. You apparently condone that or think there was some excuse for that. I don't, and I am prepared to go to the press if I need to do that to get a prosecution. I wonder how your city council would feel about that." Well, that got my attention. I thought, well, she's even more angry than I thought, but that's not really my style. So I wrote back to her, "I appreciate your quick response. It's clear by the content of your correspondence that, as I feared, there are some serious misconceptions. Rather than exchange dozens of emails on the issues, I feel it would be best if we could make time, if you could make time, that I could come and see you. I have been in touch with the Orange County Sheriff investigators, and I will assist them in any way that I can. I neither condone or endorse the behavior that you refer to, and would greatly appreciate the opportunity to tell my side of the story, as well as hear yours." Now this is happening at about 8 o'clock at night, and I received a response from her within 15 minutes. She says, "I'm happy to meet with you, but I want the name of that person who did impersonated a police officer in my city, and I want it at my meeting. Right now, you are the only name I have to give to the district attorney and the press. Please believe me, I will push this much farther than the Orange County Sheriff's Department will. I was married for many years to a police chief, and I understand professional courtesy, and I do not condone it. I do not condone it. Neither does our city council. Your organization's irresponsible behavior put the entire red light camera program at risk. I have extremely angry residents that have been ticketed and have watched your organization break the law. Not only is there no way to explain that, but I am not inclined to do so. As far as I'm concerned, your ride through our city dishonored the public safety employees who tried to uphold the law at the risk of their own safety on 9/11. You cheapened their sacrifice and made a mockery of it." Well, I have to tell you, it certainly takes some offense to that. I've done an awful lot of work, but my heart and soul not only into the ride, but into the ceremony that happens at the end of this ride that draws about 2,000 people to my personal residence. We have to close down city streets to accommodate the crowd that grows each and every year. If you ever had the chance to attend and you left with dry eyes, I would call you unpatriotic, because it is one of the most emotional events that I've ever attended, and I think the people that are in this room will stand behind me on that one. I finally did get a meeting with Mrs. Keene, and my good friend Rich Brandt, who is the union president for the Long Beach Firefighters Union, came with me. I went there in hopes to offer a more in-depth apology to Ms. Keene and I'm certainly offering it to you now. I do apologize for the disruption this caused at your light. I did not endorse it. I did not ask for it. I didn't even know it happened. I didn't know it happened until the sheriff contacted me. So there was really no opportunity to do that, and I did, in my initial email, offer my apologies. I had intended on offering them at an even deeper level if given the chance. Unfortunately, when I came to see Mrs. King, when we entered the room, she was very angry. She wasn't really interested in shaking our hands or even introducing herself. And as I started